In this video, we're jumping into Adobe After Effects and I'm going to show you how to convert 2D text into 3D text and then light that 3D text with the light inside of Adobe After Effects. So let's get into it. So once you're inside of Adobe After Effects, we first just want to begin by creating a new title. So we're just going to go up to the T icon on the top of After Effects, that is the horizontal type tool. We'll select that, select anywhere in your composition, and then you just want to type out your word or your phrase of choice. I'm just going to go for 3D. Then I'm just going to go over to the right and open up the character window. Now, if you can't see the character window for any reason, then feel free to just go into window and make sure that character is selected here. Then once you've found that, you just want to change your fonts. You can change the weight of this if you want. You can change the size, do all of these settings, and then we'll just put this roughly in the center. Now from here, to convert this 2D text into 3D text, we just want to go down to this text here. So this is our text, and then scroll across. You should see this box here. This is your 3D text box. So you just want to select that. And as you can see, that has changed the look of this. So if we open up the 3D text layer, and you can see we've got these more options here, but we're first just going to look at transform. So in transform, you can see we've still got anchor point, position, scale, but then you can see we've got the orientation, the Z rotation, the Y rotation, the X rotation, and then on the position and scale, we've got this third option, because not only are we dealing with the horizontal and the vertical axis, we're now dealing with the depth of this, so we need to extrude this backwards. So as you can see, if I move the position, this one is going to go left to right, this one is going to go up and down, and then the third option is going to go forwards or back in space. It looks like we're scaling up, but I am moving this closer or further away from the camera. Then we've got scale. So again, we've got the scale here, we've got the scale here, and then we've got the scale here. If I unlink these, you can see how these are affected. So this is the horizontal, the vertical, and then this one is going back in space. But we haven't extruded the text yet, so that won't do anything for now. And then we've got our X rotation, which is coming forwards and backwards. We have got our Y rotation, which is going around that way, and then we've got our standard Z rotation, which you are fairly familiar with. So in order to see this 3D text, I'm just going to add a little bit of Y rotation, so just somewhere over here. And then we're going to go down into geometry options. Now, if you're not seeing this, then the reason why is because your renderer is in After Effects and not in Cinema 4D. So as you can see over here, we've got Cinema 4D. So if it says Classic 3D, this is what it should look like. So if it's grayed out, just select Change Renderer, and then you want to select Cinema 4D, and then press OK on this, and that should give you all of these options. So we've got bevel style, so this is just the curvature of the corner. So you've got an angular, concave, or convex corner. So if I go angular, you can't see it happening at the moment because we haven't extruded this yet. So we just got the whole bevel depth, don't worry about that for now. Then we're going to go down to extrusion depth, and this is where we're going to make this 3D. So I'm just going to move this back in space, and as you can see, that is moving back. But if I take this all the way back, then I'm not going to be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to keep it fairly shallow, somewhere around here. Now, if I add that bevel depth, it's really going to add onto that corner. But at the moment, we've got no lights hitting this text, so we've just got a big white block of text. If I rotate this around, though, you can see this 3D effect in place. There you go. That looks great. And then down here, we've got the material options, and there's loads of options down here. So this is basically just how shiny the text is and how this is going to interact with the light. But we haven't got any lights in the scene yet, so we're just going to ignore material options for now. So we need to bring in some lights. So we'll go Layer, New, Light. And then you can see we've got light type. So you've got parallel, spot, point, and ambient. Let's just begin with a basic spotlight. And we'll make a color. So this text at the moment is white, and if we cast a light onto that white text, then the color of that light will be reflected onto the text. So let's go for a blue light. I'll press OK. All of these are fine for now because we can change these later on. We'll press OK. Then as you can see, now our text looks more 3D. So I'm just going to grab this light, not the text. I'm going to grab the spotlight, and I'm just going to move it over here and then push this up a little bit. So you can move this light around. And if you're moving this light around, but it's doing this, then you can actually change the target. So if we push this onto the center of the light, we can then move this light around, and this is just going to move around the light. So as you can see, these shadows are being cast on the light. So I'm just going to stick it in the top right corner for now, up here. But at the moment, you can't really see the back end of it because we haven't got a light back there. You've really got to think about this as if you were lighting this practically. So in order to see the other side, we want to add another light in, coming in from the other side. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go Layer, New, Light, and we're going to change the color of this to a slightly different color. Let's go for a pinky purple. Press OK and press OK on all of these. And then from here, we are just going to move the position of this light over to the left. And then if we open this up, so we'll go transform, we can actually push this further back into the space. So this is up and down, and then this is coming in left to right. As you can see, that's how that's going to change the look of this. But I want to push this further behind like this. So it's becoming a backlight almost, as you can see. And that's giving us that nice depth. Now, personally, I have to say I'm not a huge fan of this pink, so I'm going to go into light options and I'm going to change this. Let's go to a white. That looks nice, but let's explore some other colors. Let's go for a yellow. That looks kind of cool as well, but let's keep exploring. Let's go for an orange. That looks quite nice, and let's keep with that for now. So we've got this backlight up here. We've got this light up here as well. You can also add a third light in as well if you wanted to. So let's add this one in. We'll go for just a general white light. And we'll just pop this at the front. So I'm just going to place that just up here somewhere. And then we'll just go into this transform. And I'm just going to push this light back. So I'm going to pull the position back like this. There you go. So you can see this third option on the position is just going to place this behind the text, or it's going to place it in front of the text. So choose something that you're happy with. I'm pretty happy with that, to be fair. And then if you wanted to change the properties of these lights, by the way, then you can always just go into the spotlight. You can go transform to change the position, or alternatively, you can go into light options and we can change the intensity of these lights. So as you can see, I could animate this light coming on and off. You can make that really extreme and almost overexpose that text, but I'm going to keep that at around 100. Then you've got the cone angle, so you can dial this in or make this really wide. So you can make this a spotlight, or you can have this as a floodlight. As you can see, this circle here is representing how much light that we have. So I'm just going to keep that nice and wide so we always attack the text. Then you've got the cone feather, so this is just the softening, that fall off of the light. We can have a fall off as well, so we can go for a smooth fall off, and that looks quite nice, but it does mean I think we need to pull the intensity up a little bit just to get that in place. Alternatively though, you can change that to depending on what you're looking for. Then we've got our radius, we've got our fall off distance, we've got cast shadows, and we can turn that on, but we don't actually have anything else in the scene, so the shadows from this aren't going to be cast anywhere. If I was to create a new solid, so let's make a new white solid or a grey solid, somewhere around there. We'll push this at the very bottom. So I'll make sure this is under the lights and under the text. We'll turn this into a 3D shape. So we'll press the 3D button. And then we just need to place this underneath the text. There you go. So at the moment, it's actually in front of the text. If we take this back and we rotate this down so that we almost make a floor. So that would be this option here. We'll take this down into the space. And I'll just make this larger as well. There you go. Now that we've got this floor, you can actually see that this is casting shadows. So if I just move this light around, there you go. You should see some of these shadows appearing just underneath there. And you can see you could actually animate these lights over time. So let's go into transform. Let's create a brand new keyframe on the position. And then let's go to 2 seconds. And we'll just move the position of this light from the top right over into the bottom left. Now you can see it's going to take 2 seconds for that light to animate across. There you go. And we're getting this nice light movement around the text. I think that looks really cool. So of course, feel free to go into all of your lights. You can animate these lights. You can change the color of these. You can add the intensities, whatever you want. Just go through all of your lights and make them look how you want them to look. But we're going to go into the text. And I'm just going to show you how to rotate your text and add a little bit of animation onto this text to really bring this to life. So in the 3D text layer, we're just going to go into the rotation. So that is the Y rotation. We'll start with it at around this number, so we're at plus 41. Then we'll go to that 2-second mark where this light stops moving, and we'll take that the opposite direction, so negative 19. And I'm just going to turn this floor off for now because I don't really need that. That looks really cool. Although the problem is, at this moment in time, we kind of lose the text. It almost falls off into the background a little bit. So I think we need to make that backlight even further back. So I think that was light number 2. Yes, it was. So light number 2 are backlights. And feel free to rename these, by the way. So rename, we'll call this one backlight. Just feel free to really send that off into the background so that we really get that nice hairlight effect. There we go, that's this one. And I'm just going to make this light even more intense, and I'm just going to make this a brighter light at the back. There you go, that's really cool. So we're getting that nice backlight effect in place there. And when we play this back, that's really starting to pop from the background. Now, of course, as you can see, I have actually animated the position of the Y rotation on this layer, but instead, rather than doing that, you can actually create a brand new camera, a virtual camera in After Effects. So we'll go layer, new camera. As you can see, we've got type 2-node or 1-node camera. So I'm just going to select 2-node camera. We'll just call this camera. You can set a preset for your focal length. So I'm just going to go for a 24mm lens. This is roughly what you want to select. Of course, if you are working with actual footage and you're putting 3D text into your footage, then you want to try and match closely the type of shot that you're using. So if you use 24mm lens and that was your focal length in the shot, then try and select a 24mm camera here. But if you're just creating some 3D text for an intro or a graphic or something, then feel free to select any one of these. The general preset is 50, but I'm just going to select 24. We'll press OK on that, and then we'll just go into that camera. We've got transform and camera options. So as you can see in the transform, this is going to be our position. So we can move the camera in any which direction that we like. So we can take that down and up. So if we take this down, create a brand new keyframe on the position, move a second over, and then bring that up, you can see it creates this almost boom type shot. So it's this nice jib coming from down and then coming up. I think that looks really cool. Or alternatively, if you didn't want to do that, you could explore the rotation. So we can rotate this around like this. We can rotate that around like this. Or we can rotate the camera like this. And there you go. That is how you create 3D text inside of Adobe After Effects. This video was kind of a general introduction into how you would make 3D text, but in a future video, I'll go more into specific detail about how to create specific effects using this 3D text. In the meantime though, I would recommend just jumping into After Effects and experimenting with that 3D text, playing with the lights and the different types of lights available to you, and then experimenting with that virtual camera inside of Adobe After Effects to see what type of animation that you can create inside the program. But there you go. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate your support, and hopefully I will see you on the next video. See you there.